Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Sweet House. Today is the holiday finale, so that's why we are all dressed in our festive wear. And I invited some friends to the table to chat all things podcasting, life, and gratefulness. So I want to introduce you to my friends to the left. This is India and Barrett Newsome. They have a podcast called She and I, where they talk all things relationship. And they just got back from a really fun honeymoon. So after 10 years of marriage, they are renewed and rejuvenated post-trip. How was the trip, y'all?
Ooh, needed. Good.
Where'd you go?
C, we went to Aruba.
Okay.
Went to Aruba.
And Barrett didn't want to come back?
I didn't want to come back. Matter of fact, I left a sleeping bag.
Okay.
So they know that I'm coming back. Next time I might stay on the beach.
Okay.
So they know that about me. But Aruba was great. My biggest advice I've been telling everybody, rent a car. If you go to Aruba, they're going to tax you for a taxi.
Oh, yeah.
Man, taxi was $35 one way. So do the math, $70 to get to a restaurant one night.
Oh, wow.
Because I feel like y'all are going soon. Wow. I got it. I feel it in my fingers, right? Yeah. Get a taxi and you're gonna get a tan. I'm not this color. I'm not this color for real, but I'm happy about this tan. However, when you go, get a taxi.
Okay. Well, as you guys can see, if you need some relationship advice, you should tune in to She and I podcast because they've got relationship travel advice and real relationship advice.
Real.
And real. And over to my right, speaking of real, I have Jalen and Alex, who you guys know is Mr. Sweet because he is usually my season finale for the podcast. But they have a podcast called The Raw Room where they keep it real and raw. They record in a basement all night long.
We're a long way from the basement, Jalen. We're a long way from the basement.
They're a long way from the basement, but their podcast is reaching hundreds of thousands of people. Thanks. And I'm going to let them tell you guys a little bit about it.
Go ahead, Jalen.
Today, we just hit 300,000 subscribers on
Look at that.
YouTube. It was a little emotional for me because we started a long time ago, 2020.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a long, hard road. It's a lot of work. Podcasting.
Yeah.
A lot of people, misconception. You just sitting behind the camera talking.
Talk about
That's not what it is. A lot of time, a lot of dedication. But I'm grateful to be
sits
here.
around the house and does a lot of research. And so he has to watch every game. He's got to watch every documentary.
Yeah.
He has to note everything. And he's constantly working behind the scenes. So I have to give you guys your flowers for that one. Because
We appreciate it.
even though it's pop culture and it's very real and very raw, it's also very thought out. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's fun.
Well, I also have to give them their flowers. I was actually at a wedding this past summer, and one of the bridesmaids was overjoyed that y'all were my friends, and she would not leave me alone. She was like, "Can you please FaceTime India? I need to see her." I was like, "Okay, I will FaceTime India when we get done with this wedding." Never got around to FaceTiming you guys, but everybody who comes to the Sweet House, I always give them their flowers, and I wanted to let you guys know that y'all are a global phenomenon. And anytime that Alex and I have traveled over the past year and a half, somebody has come up to us wanting photos with him, but I've been doing this since 2009 and nobody cares. So we've been to Chicago.
Yes.
We've been to Miami. Anywhere we go, Memphis, I cannot even.
Oh, yeah. Memphis is
I
different.
cannot eat in peace in Memphis.
Can I tell a quick
But
story?
he's a Memphis
Yes.
native, so that's
Yeah,
different.
yeah, it's different.
Hold on.
That's different.
I gotta tell a quick story. So I went home. I'm from the best state on earth.
Oh, no.
With an
Talk
L.
about this.
I'm from Mississippi. All right.
Yeah,
So I went home.
Let's argue about that one. What number are they in education?
Well, you know,
Y'all worried about the wrong thing.
Don't worry about us right now. I got to give my man the flowers. I'm going to give you yours. I walked to the barbershop because my best friend cuts hair, and lo and behold, what was on the TV? You guessed it, my good people, the Raw Room.
The Raw Room,
So
baby.
I told Westside, I said, man, it's my guy Sweet and Jalen. He was like, man, no. Now you can see how people really don't believe you.
Yeah.
I said, all right, hold on. I walked outside. I called him. My man, Daddy Duty, getting rain in the car. You could see a sweat was coming down his eyebrow. And I said, I'm gonna let you go, but I gotta let my boy Westside talk to you real fast.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
got to chop
man,
it
that
up
was
with
huge.
Alex,
That
and
was
you know,
huge.
so that was good for him. We feel real good.
And you know,
man,
he
about
called
y'all.
me right after you called him, and he was
did.
like, Barrett just told me he saw me in the barbershop.
That's a big thing.
It
The
is.
barbershop, that's the culture, that's the people, that's like the the normal everyday person. Like when like you start reaching people that are in the quote unquote the actual streets, that's when you're making a big impact, man. So
Yeah.
the barbershop is a cornerstone of our community. So
Yeah.
that was a big deal for me.
Big deal for me. For him watching y'all,
Yeah.
and for me knowing him, knowing y'all, it felt good. So let me introduce my brothers to each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's nice.
I
Shout out
love
to you.
that. And thank y'all for always looking out, because people really don't think about how we're all connected.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, the cool part about Nashville is how connected we are
sure.
and how we all will call on each other for different things. It's like, if you're in the group, everybody is in the group. Like, we
Definitely.
are the IT network, and
Yeah.
we're rising together. So
That's a
kudos
fact.
to y'all for that too.
For
So
sure.
know people who know people. But he was also at a pharmaceutical sales conference, and
Was.
the waiter was coming out and just fan manning. Is that the word for y'all? Because usually it's fan girling.
Yeah, fan
I like
man.
fan
That's,
man.
that's a new one, but yeah.
It's just roomy love.
Roomy love.
Roomy love.
Yeah.
Roomy love.
Okay. Well, roomy
Yeah,
love
roomy
is what
love.
they call it,
Roomy
but
love.
I just coined a new term, fan man.
Fan man.
Fan and fanboy, because you can't say fangirl, fanboy. I like fan manning.
Yeah, fan manning. Yeah, it works. But people always ask me what Alex really does, and I say he sells drugs.
Here you go.
So,
Technically.
It's dope to the streets, man.
Legally.
It's legal. It's all legal.
well, I want to get into it, and I want to talk about what inspired you all to start your podcast, and how did you decide on what themes to focus on? Because you all are focused on relationships, and I am focused on career and business and lifestyle with the Sweet House, and you all are focused on sports and pop culture and just keeping it real. So I'm gonna start with y'all. Like, what made you, or how did you go about starting your podcast, and how did you decide what theme to focus on?
He had to drag me.
Yeah, talk about it. And I'm still doing it now.
For those who know me know that I'm just naturally introverted. So a podcast was never on my bingo card. But it was something that he was really passionate about, and he just kept talking about it. If you look back at our first episode, I was big as a house because I was pregnant. And I was like, you got me on here talking about relationships. And I don't know that when we started, it was supposed to be about relationships.
Yeah, it was. It was always supposed to be about relationships. It took me a while because you were like adamant about telling me no. No was your favorite word. It's been your favorite word for a long time. Once I convinced her to come along, then she got on board. But I didn't know how the first episode was going to sound. So that was the big thing. Once I figured out how it was going to sound and we both sounded good, because I'm not going to put a bad product out. Like, now we can keep it going. So that's really what it was. And what inspired me to do it was I listened to podcasts all the time. And back then, nobody knew what the purple thing on your iPhone was.
What year was this?
This was 2018, right?
Okay.
We had like
2018?
Yeah, 2018.
The top 2018, we started recording the first
So you
episode.
weren't dancing on TikTok.
Nah, this
No.
TikTok wasn't even a thing.
TikTok was not a thing.
was
No.
Vine was still do it for the Vine.
Yeah.
That's all about that. You know what I mean?
Look,
Wait.
Vine, it's so wild how social media has really evolved too.
You would know
Yeah.
that more than anybody.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's funny when I see a job description. Both Barrett and I work in marketing, and when I see a job description that says that they need 20 years of marketing or social media experience, I'm like, on what? Black Planet?
Right, like what are we going to?
MySpace.
You write code like MySpace.
Right. Like, I mean, where are people getting that?
I have no
period?
clue. I have no
No.
clue. So,
But back to y'all's story.
but
So-
so once she came on and it sounded good, I kept listening to the podcast I like. And I mentioned one earlier, Joe Budden. It was The Brilliant Idiots. And it was Amy Porterfield. Speaking of marketing, I never say this name out loud because people don't know who she is. She had a podcast about email list marketing, how to get more leads and turn those leads into customers. She sounded good. I'm like, man, I need to sound like Amy. Amy's on top of it. So if I can figure out how to sound like that, we're gonna keep going. And that first episode came out, wow, it was on from there. The camera, it was lit. So we got started with the first episode, and then I think and you don't do it for the engagement, but once the engagement came and people started liking it, and liking our story.
Can you say that again for the people in the back?
Yeah, we don't do it for the engagement, right? But once the engagement came and people showed interest in the product, because it's hard to sell one of anything. If you can get past selling that one thing or get one person to buy in, then you feel like you're doing something right. So once we got that done, I was like, all right, we're going to keep this thing going. Now, somebody got burnt out, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. So.
It happens, y'all. It happens. Alex and I, or Mr. Sweet, as y'all know him, I have to use all Alex's code names. And they probably call him something else at the raw room.
Sweet.
But anyways, we did go on an episode of She and I podcast.
Bamboo, never forget.
Bamboo season.
Bamboo season. But we're all still in bamboo season.
We are.
So yes, we are. And look how far we've come.
Ooh-wee.
I think we were like living in an apartment then. Now we own 2 homes. You know,
fire.
We won't go there. But anyways,
Bamboo season.
Bamboo season. We're all everything's starting to come above ground. And now Google Fiber is sponsoring an episode featuring all of us.
That's right. Shout out to Fiber.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
It's a very Merry Christmas to have y'all sitting here.
It is.
And the fact that you all started in 2020 when the world was shutting down, and you weren't dancing on TikTok, but you were starting a podcast. How did you decide what themes to focus on? I do kind of wish that I was dancing on TikTok. I'm not gonna lie. I was busy like saving the world and disseminating podcasts, but
dancing does seem fun, doesn't it? It just seems so fun. They're having a great time dancing on TikTok.
Just hit a little jig. Hey.
Okay, on the count of 3, everybody hit a jig.
I'm not supposed to do this anymore.
I don't even know what it is. I don't know what it is anyway.
It's all the same dances repurposed.
It is.
Like they just switch up the order. It's like a solid, like. Like.
But it's really like the same thing that we've been doing for years.
It's the same thing we've been doing.
It's the same thing we've been doing.
Yeah.
I figured. But anyway.
So what inspired you guys to start the podcast? I still remember when Alex told me that y'all were starting a podcast and he needed to go to Memphis to do the first episode. I was like, wait a minute.
She was upset.
She was upset?
Hi. She was upset. It really wasn't an upset thing. So obviously during 2020.
We're in the middle of a
pandemic. But this was, we had the conversation. Let me just go back to
when we initially had the conversation. Stuff back up in this house.
When we initially had a conversation about the podcast, Darren Bates, shout out to Darren. Yeah. I mean, he's, the Raw Room wouldn't be Raw Room without Darren Bates. He had the vision for it. Obviously, at the time, he was with the Tennessee Titans, and during the shutdown, he wanted to do something different. He had time. He wanted to do something different, but obviously, he's been in the league for. At that point, 8 years, 9 years. Something like that. So, as a football player, the clock started to tick.
Right. It's I guess like we started, Darren on the internet. We can't really do anything. We can't go outside. And I seen his conversation with one of the news reporters out here, and he was like, "I want to start a podcast after I get done playing." And I responded, "I'm like, why wait?" Because I was at the house transitioning. And I was like, I want a place where we can talk about sports, give our stories, because as far as sports media goes, it's not a whole lot of space for us to do that and tell our narrative the way that it's really happening. They kind of write their own narrative. So we connected, and then 3-4 months later, it was, we in the studio.
It's all popping. We started in Memphis, to your point. Shout out to my frat brother Xavier, because we was at Oasis off Highland at a hookah lounge. We got it started. And I remember because Bass had the idea, kind of what Jalen said, he wanted to have a place to where athletes can be authentically themselves and tell their narrative. And we can say this is on record, we were the first podcast that had an active professional athlete on it. You know what I'm saying? No one else was doing that. Like you got, Draymond Green came along and
all the smoke and
all the smoke.
But they were
retired at the point.
Out,
but
right?
like even like, just a player that's actually currently in their profession playing, it wasn't heard of. Bustin' the Boys came out obviously as well.
Right.
So, it was just like we wanted to create a safe space.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It was creating a safe space. I had no plans at all on being in front of the camera.
Oh yeah, he was.
I remember
that first day. He was just behind the scenes. He's been there since day one, but he didn't get on camera behind the mic for. It was almost a year at that point.
It was about a year.
Yeah.
It was about a year until I got on the camera. But once we did, we had a thing.
Yeah.
People, obviously was very, very receptive to the product that we were putting out. To your point, it's hard to sell one thing, but once the engagement came, because at first it was just a passion. It was just a passion. But once the engagement came, not only from just fans of the sport, but fellow athletes, teammates, people that have people out on the battlefield playing the game, took off.
Man, y'all don't give yourself enough credit too, because that Antonio Brown episode,
AJ Brown.
They did, the AJ, that was crazy, and that went viral, and it was just big, man. I still remember that to this day. It was all over ESPN. I said, look at these guys.
Yeah, we got phone calls after that.
Oh, absolutely.
We got phone calls from the powers that be. That's when I knew we had something too, because we're getting phone calls from the GM of the Titans and the coach saying, "Hey,
chill,
right? Y'all gotta relax.
It's a leak in the water hole."
Right. But that's kind of how it came to be. It came with their purpose. Just wanted to go behind the scenes and tell their narrative, and I wanted to be a part of that because Darren, me and him been friends since I was in 8th grade. We go back.
What's up, man?
Just that Memphis connection that we have. People from Memphis, and we just a different breed. Just how y'all feel about Mississippi.
Yeah.
But Memphis
Big
people,
shit.
we just a different breed.
I don't know who feels that way about Mississippi.
What you mean?
Are you from Mississippi?
Absolutely. Olive Branch. Shout out to Olive Branch.
Oh, that's fake Mississippi.
No, it's not.
Memphis, right?
It's real
Hold it down. We still gonna hold it down.
Big shit.
Well, I will answer that question as well, because as you guys know, if you've been watching the show for a minute now, the Sweet House was actually recorded 3 times. And the first couple of times, the producing and everything was just not what it was supposed to be. And it wasn't until I found Aaron and Cast Collective and this staff here to create this incredible experience, even to bring guests on who are comfortable and understand the professionalism of it. I was like, I'm not putting anything else out to the world until I can get this type of quality. But funny story is that I actually recorded maybe 10 episodes of The Sweet House at a hotel here in Nashville, and Darren was on one of those episodes. So when I got the product back, I was like, I feel horrible, because I have asked I've asked all these people who are busy and they got stuff going on to come tell their stories on my show, and it looks horrible. So I just had to tell everybody, now is not the time.
Did you scrap it?
Yeah, I scrapped it. It never came out to the public.
They'll never made it
lying.
Never came out to the public.
What about the audio? Can you use audio?
No, I refused.
All right.
I was like, until I get this exactly where I want it to go, because I felt like this whole podcast is about non-linear career trajectories.
Sure.
I mean, you're in marketing. India's been in a bunch of different industries, but now she owns a Pilates studio and she's a mom. And then there's me, who's been in marketing and momming and 100 different jobs. And then there's Alex, who sells drugs and he does a podcast. And then there's Jalen, who's been in the NFL and he's also doing a podcast. It's like, how do we pivot?
Yeah.
But like Jalen said, their whole motive for starting the podcast is to be able to share those stories, because athletes don't know what to do when they finish.
It's
when I had gotten laid off from my job this last go round. When I called Aaron that day, I said, all right, girl, it's time. Hold on, Mariah Carey says, it's time.
Oh, yeah.
Sound good.
That was
I can sing.
That's good.
But you know who really has some Mariah Carey whistle tones down is Rain.
Yeah, baby,
she's got it. She just has
Rain is a superstar.
Santa might as well have got up yesterday. Rain was just, she was there. But anyways, so here we are. My motivation for starting the podcast, I had to do it a couple times.
Yeah.
I had to fail a couple of times. And it wasn't even necessarily that I failed. It was just things around me were not aligning. for me to put out the product that I wanted to put out. And so, you know, it is divine timing that we're all able to sit here, which leads me to my next question that I have for you all is, what's one unexpected lesson you've learned since starting your podcast? Like I said, I had to film twice, and I involved my people who believed in me, and I had to apologize to my people. I'm like, I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't think this was gonna look like that. But what is one unexpected lesson that you guys have had? Has it been burnout? I know, India, you mentioned burnout, and
so I would have to say, for me personally, it's okay to take a break.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have, and the podcast has done fine. We had to find somebody to step in for me. Bear was not too pleased. I mean, but the podcast has been fine because
Sid is great. She's great.
Yeah, she's been doing good. And I'll make my return in December. I've been gone for like, what, 8 months now?
You've been gone for a long time. It's been a long time.
But
It's been a long time.
my thing with podcasting is that it doesn't work if you're not authentic. And I couldn't keep showing up as somebody that wasn't truly myself, and I was just in a period of unhappiness, and I was like, I gotta reel this in. So for me, it's okay to take a break when it's time to take a break.
Yeah.
One unexpected thing that I learned is this: sometimes you need to have a good team. That's what you keep saying. I try.
You remember that episode I filmed with y'all, the one-off episode of the Black Men?
Yes, yes.
And I filmed it myself.
Yeah.
I was like, you know.
I remember you were putting all the lights in the back. You were doing everything.
I did everything.
You had the boom camera.
I edited
boom
that myself.
And baby was on your chest.
My baby, I had Rain attached to my chest.
Yeah.
Like, she was like maybe 3 months old. I was like, but I'm doing this, so you know. And I think it has like 3,000 views on YouTube.
So I mean, you did amazing.
Yeah, I did it. You know, because so sometimes you don't have a production either.
That's right.
It takes time to get a production.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, even for me, sometimes I will try to do everything myself. This is what I'm learning now. It's okay to outsource.
Yes.
But it's my baby, and I want to have my hands in every facet as much as I can, right? So my biggest thing is it's okay to ask for help. And also, last thing, content creation is hard.
It is.
This probably the biggest thing I learned. Content creation is all. Listen, I put the podcast out, we edit it, we record it, I do it all, then it's done. And then you expect me to go clip it up to make TikTok and Instagram videos and YouTube shorts? Man, I'm tired.
And then you have to engage with everybody.
I'm tired. If I had enough time to do that, I got 2 kids, I got a wife.
You should have been dancing on TikTok.
I should have been. Hey. Watch out now. So that's what I learned, man.
Yeah. I'll say, to piggyback on what India said, you do need a break because, I mean, I went through that too. Jalen, like, you remember. I mean, it's been a couple of times because, you know, it's so funny. Like, we've been doing it for so long. Life changed for me. Like, when we first started, I didn't have a child.
Right. Yeah, I remember.
I didn't have a child. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was totally different then. And, like, you know, obviously, you know, you're introducing to parenthood, and you're still trying to produce a product. And we were going every week. Like, we didn't miss a week. We haven't missed a week.
We have not missed a week.
Since 2000, I feel like. Rumors will probably check us, but we haven't missed a week.
We missed a week.
No, you guys, that's one thing I'll pride y'all on is your consistency.
And it's hard.
Yeah.
It is hard.
You know, our podcast is set up the same way.
Yeah.
Like, we go every week. And I was like,
I'm a one-man
tap
band.
out.
So I was like, I know what I can do. I decided to do my podcast in seasons.
Okay.
And so when Aaron and I chatted, like, what was the best option? Because also Cast Collective here in Nashville shoots a lot of famous people's podcasts. And so Aaron and I chatted on, like, what was the best option for me, even financially, because these are things that you all have to consider too, is 10 episodes. And this was an investment for me to make that. I mean, it's a financial commitment. It is an emotional commitment. It's, like I said in the beginning, lots of research. When these guests, every time their guests come in, they're like, you're the most prepared person like we've ever sat down. I've had people, Brooke and Bryce, remember Aaron when I interviewed them, and they were like, oh, we've been on Good Morning America, we've been on the Today Show, we've been everywhere, and no one has like cared enough to know anything about us in the way that you have.
It's big,
so, Yeah, when they said that, I was like, well, yeah, I wouldn't even feel comfortable, like India said. Like, it's not an authentic conversation if I've asked you to be here and I don't know anything about you.
It's huge.
Like, I can't carry the conversation. But anyways.
That's why we started off with guests like you all, because we knew you all.
Yeah.
And we wanted the conversation to be centered around people that we knew, that we had a connection with, people that we liked. Like,
right.
Let's go ask Jasmine and Alex to be on the podcast because we know them, we connect with them.
Yeah.
We're not going to ask just any old body, to be on the podcast. So
yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Sourcing guests is a whole nother thing because it's like you're going to get told no.
Shout out to you for what you did about 2 weeks ago, a week ago. That was big.
Well, thank you.
Big up yourself. You say it.
Thank you. I'll take it.
Yeah,
Dolly was
Dolly
wonderful.
Parton, yes.
But it's funny because I've been told no so many times by different people.
Oh, yeah.
No, good luck on your little podcast. All kinds of
Little.
deterring things.
like
So,
that word.
But no, people love to little
right there,
you.
hit you
It's
right
like
there.
I've been going through that now with my Pilates studio.
Big
like I
adjective,
literally had
little.
somebody say, "Oh, you opened up a little studio," and I was like,
I did, but where's yours?
"Stop playing with me."
Right.
Bill, you can help me pay
Real
too.
estate. Like, this is what's going on
Yeah.
here. Come on.
Where's yours?
It's different.
I'll
man.
wait.
It's different.
Help out again.
No.
Keep looking.
Is it on Amazon?
It's different, man.
And it's just, but again, I want the audience to also hear that from us so that they understand,
Yeah.
like, it's joyful, it's amazing. Like, we all started years ago and we're all rising together, but it has been a labor of love. So I'm going to pivot back to
Jalen
you,
has a whole different.
Oh yeah.
Set of
Like I said
circumstances.
earlier, in introduction, I mean, this is not just something that you sit behind the camera and you talk. Like, it's so much that goes into this. So many lost episodes. We don't have the camera rolling because it's just me and Darren. Like, it's so many different things that go into it, and then not missing a week. Like, we put out an episode every week. Maybe it's not the video, but at least it's audio.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is just like, it's not really just something that you could just pop out and do.
Yeah.
You have to really be like dedicated to this and give a lot of yourself. And me, different than y'all, I'm not married, I don't have kids, so I have a little bit more time. But I mean, it still takes all of me. I'm working all week, like engaging, editing, creating. Like, it's not an easy business being a part of this. So
Driving.
Traveling, all that stuff, trying to get guests. Like, I mean,
I say that all the time. Every time Alex is like, Jalen's on the way, I'm about to head to the studio. I'm like, this man is driving from Memphis up I-40 every Monday to record this podcast. I mean, I would have been done with y'all.
Oh yeah. It take a lot. It take a lot.
But I think it's always, when you have group podcasts, you always have the glue that holds it together. So you just may be the glue. Like, you're the dedication that Barrett's absolutely the glue that holds this podcast. If it wasn't for him, this podcast would have ended.
Yeah.
And I would have started another one.
He would have pivoted.
He would have pivoted.
Yeah.
That is true. You know what? I got to say that because from that standpoint, with the engagement, with the edits, I mean, we have a great production team too. It's a one-man team in Faison, but we have a whole team.
Yeah.
I mean, we do have a social media
Jay.
person and Mr. Matt and John.
Yeah.
He handles some of our merch. Jalen does most of our talking online. Like, when the roomies want to talk to us directly, they're mainly talking to Jalen. I'll try my best to get in. I'm not that great at social media. I'm learning. I am learning how to get better at social media. But like, Jalen's always tapped in. And I will say another set of challenges, because I feel like I do want to talk about this, is when you are thinking about expanding, right? Expanding the scope. So going from just potting to like, all right, well, what's next? Is it a live show? I know y'all have done live shows.
Love them.
We've done like some travel content.
Right.
We went to Seattle.
Right,
Y'all just came back from Charlotte, went to Baton Rouge, Knox. So like, that presents a whole new set of challenges within itself with, just getting organized.
Yeah.
What's the itinerary? What's the plan? What are the logistics?
Yeah.
And she's like a whole. But again, we do have a team, and not for nothing, you gotta jump out there. You gotta jump out there and knock your head a couple of times and figure out, all right, this didn't work. Now we can pivot and go. What's next?
Yeah, and Barrett mentioned that too, even with his first episode. Like, what does it sound like?
Listen to yourself.
Yes, listen to yourself. And I mean, how do you go about critiquing yourself?
Ooh, that first episode, I heard myself saying about 30 times. I just kept saying like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's those little words that you try to stay away from. When you hear yourself say them, you think to yourself, I have a bigger vocabulary than that.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I can expand my thoughts without saying like.
Yeah.
So when I listen back, I picked out little things I didn't want to do and little things I want to keep capitalizing on, because like you said, when people hear it, the community, they engage with it. So now you know what they like. You can kind of build off of that. But if you hear yourself and it's something that you don't like about what you're doing, change it, because the outside perspective is probably the same thing. And don't take yourself too serious too.
Yeah.
A lot of times people get on the mic for the first time and think they're about to have the greatest product ever until you go back and listen to yourself and you really sound crazy. Yeah. So you need to really fix that thing. So that's what it was.
Yeah, and thankfully social media moves fast, and so if you did put out something that you're not 100% proud of, that social media does extend us that grace that it's a thing of the past very fast.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be my next question for you all is, how are you contending with social media changes? Because we've all been doing this before the implementation of TikTok, and then the constant iterations of all the social media channels that even you already mentioned, Barrett. You got YouTube Shorts just came out like within the past couple of years. You're contending with a lot on social media. So how are y'all keeping up?
I'm not doing a good job.
Just keep on.
So it's hard because all the social media has always fallen on him, because I struggle with social media and I take a lot of stuff personally. So I will kind of take myself out of it. And he's like, India, you don't know these people and they don't really know you. So we had a couple of clips that kept going viral on TikTok. TikTok community is ruthless.
I love y'all.
Like,
y'all hold me down. Y'all stay holding me down.
You know what my answer? You should have been dancing on TikTok.
Had I been dancing, maybe they wouldn't be so mean. But you're talking, and I'm just like, why are you, like, y'all are awful people. And so it's hard for me to not internalize it. So I'm like, Bear, you got to do the social media. But he has too many hats. Yeah. So social media, like, we haven't been doing that great in the social media department.
Once those clips went viral and we amassed, I'll be honest, it took us a while, but from those two clips, they went viral, and then with the boom, this Instagram following just came. Then I'm like, all right, cool, we got it now. I'm gonna chill. And I chilled, and I stopped putting out clips because, like I said, it's just a lot. So I know I have, and I'm trying to use AI to my advantage. But I have these different clips that I try to put out every week, at least 4 times, and it's putting them out on every channel. It takes too long.
It does.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out any tips y'all can give me. I'm accepting all advice.
Well, and then it's also hard to find, like, I guess because our podcast is based on relationships, and relationships is a hard thing for people to grasp right now. There are not a lot of people who are this young. Like, we just crossed 10 years of marriage. And so people have a lot of differing opinions and views on that kind of stuff. And so we try to put out quality content. And so we balance each other well, because he's very silly, but I counter him with like the serious stuff. It's always the silly stuff that people like latch on to. And I'm like, why was that clip so popular? So I think that's the hard thing for me, because you have different audiences on different platforms. So you kind of got to figure out what's going to be the best thing to post on
said
each
platform.
Yeah, because like the followers on TikTok are a lot different from the ones on Instagram
and YouTube.
And YouTube, exactly.
And then LinkedIn now, because
do LinkedIn,
that's a whole different ball game. So yeah, it is an interesting landscape that we're all having to navigate. But I was talking to a musician recently at an event, and so I asked her if she liked doing social media, and she said, no, I hate it. Like, I just want to play my music. And I think all of us to a certain extent can feel that way. And so my advice to you all watching is that you all are doing a good job. Y'all are doing a phenomenal job. I also have felt a bit of not imposter syndrome, but a bit of like I am not doing enough. And so, but I think any creative can feel that way because it's like, well, I just want to do the job of interviewing people and then move on to the next interview. But unfortunately, I have to do the song and dance on all of these different platforms. I have to sing a different song and create a whole different soundtrack for this audience and that audience and that audience. So for me, I think, I've had to tell myself it's okay to take a break. It's okay if I didn't get around to posting on said platform today. For me, I'm also an influencer. I got to also focus on affiliate linking and pitching brands and like lots of negotiations. And now everybody wants rain. So I'm like, I got to wrangle a toddler at the same time that I'm trying to like shoot content and enjoy the experience. Like it is a lot. So it's a lot to contend with, but I think the general consensus of social media, and I ask every guest that comes on the show how they feel about social media, and everybody says the same thing. Like, I just want to do my job. Like, I don't even let my kids on social media, or I don't even, it's the same consensus. So I feel like if we keep singing how we feel about it out loud, maybe the giants, the social media giants, will hear the consumers. Because I could care less about people dancing on TikTok.
Me too.
I want content of substance. India said at the beginning, you must really have something against them. Well, I mean, they ain't helping me pay bills.
Talk about
They're not giving me substance that I'm looking for. They're not helping me understand sports. Right. They're not helping me understand like resilience in relationships or anything. So I look for content that offers me some substance.
All right. Here.
Yes.
But I think that's also how the imposter syndrome can creep in, because it's like, dang, they're doing all of this off of dancing.
They over there slapping their hips. I'm having an in-depth conversation with people, and it don't add up. It don't add up.
That is where the imposter syndrome comes in. It's kind of like, well, I actually paid for decent production, and you mean to tell me you were singing in your bathroom? But you know what's funny? Alex and I went to an event at Soho House, and they had a TikTok star that was performing. And the whole room was just talking. Nobody was paying attention to the TikTok star.
Didn't know how to work the crowd.
He could not captivate the crowd at all. He could do it in his bathroom.
Tell me later.
Oh, that's tough.
Later.
He could do it in his bathroom, but he couldn't do it in public. And so, but I do want to ask y'all too, like, what's your experience with social media? I know y'all kind of like really took off, but I do think y'all's niche of sports and stuff is just different.
Yeah.
It's just different.
It is. I mean, I do believe, especially when we're in season, like when we're in season, it's easier because we're getting fresh content every night. You know, every week we're getting something fresh. I'll say this. I'll let Jalen go because like he does more of it. Like I'm still on that side of I am a consumer of content still. I produce content, but when it comes to social media, me and you have this conversation. Like I still, whenever I open up my phone, I'm there for the entertainment.
He's
value.
scrolling.
I'm just scrolling. I'm not right on. I haven't gotten to the point to where like, okay, I need to go engage. I have to go out of my way, or like, all right, let me go to YouTube and do a comment. Let me I'm a consumer. So
if I consume, I would not do it.
What you mean?
If I was a consumer, I just wouldn't do social media. I think I'm not a consumer. I am a creator. So I create, I put it out, and I get off. Like if I had to consume it, I feel like it would consume me.
I mean, I can see that. I can see that, but I feel like, some people, like, I feel like I can consume in a very, very healthy way. Like, I mean, I'm not on there. Like, some people can go down the rabbit hole and just scroll. Like, I'm not like that. I still have life. You know what I'm saying? I can still go out and move around. But if I got time to, go on IG, if I need like a quick laugh, I'm going there for the funnies most of the time. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be real. And to India's point too, it's funny because I do use different apps for different reasons. I do. Like, if I'm watching a game, I'm normally on Twitter. Because I'm like live in it. Like, but we grew up with that back in the day. Like, we were
live tweeting.
Live tweeting was a thing. Like, if the Grammys was on, we were live tweeting. Like, What a time, right? How to Get Away with Murder, like live tweeting. That was a time. So
Annalise.
It is different. I know, right?
I'm still learning. I'm still learning that. But I mean, Jalen, how do you deal with it, man? Because I know we get on your nerves, so we won't be engaged.
No, I understand that everybody has, you know, their responsibilities and different things. I guess for me, the biggest thing is like, I try to have fun with it as well. And the community that we've created, like, I just interact with our community on things that we like. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can go out and create, but I'm always like talking to the roomies, trying to bring them in on different things and on whatever platform it is. Like, I'm just gonna go in and shoot a little comment, and then it's, you know, 20, 30 people, and it'll just go from there. And I mean, it's a tough space, of course, and everybody can't consume and create. I take my time where I'm like, all right, I'm not finna create. I'm not just gonna hang out, have my fun, do whatever. But I mean, it's actually fulfilling with the community that we have because everybody's engaging, and then like you said, there are people that kind of make it, you know, not really a space that we want to be a part of. And for us being athletes, like, we deal with that
all the time.
That's just the nature of our sports. If we're doing bad, they're gonna talk about us. If we're doing good, somebody talking about us. It don't matter. So we just have a healthy balance of like, oh, you talking? All right, well, we're gonna talk back. You know what I'm saying? Like, we not scared to, you know, face the people and say what we gotta say.
You're not scared for sure. You're going crazy.
Don't play with me. Don't play with me.
I will take it from 0 to 10, and I'll be ready to like cuss people out. And people like, India.
Well, see,
don't respond to them people,
right? And that's the.
And I'm like, you want to know where I'm from?
I guess that's the, you know, the good thing about the nature.
What was about to come out?
No, right. But I feel like that's the good thing about the nature of what we do, because, you know, a lot of sports is based around talking noise to each other, to the other team, the other players. So it's just like, you know, we have a healthy balance. Like, we don't get too caught up into it because we know these people are necessarily not really knowledgeable about what they're talking about. They're probably just a passionate fan or whatever. But we could talk a little trash with them. So
I like it too, and I feel like that's also why people need to hear from y'all's podcast, because the average person doesn't deal with that every day. The average person is dealing with their family and a few close friends. And so they're not dealing with all of the criticism of the world. And so I think that's why people need to hear the rawness of y'all's stories, because you do contend with it, especially closer to the end of y'all's careers, where you're kind of like, well, what do I do after this? Like, how do I process everything that I've just done since I was a child?
Right.
Because you've been playing football your whole life.
Oh, yeah. My whole life. And then, you know, played in the Super Bowl, lost, of course. So for the rest of my life. I mean, I did lose, but to one of the greatest football players ever, Tom Brady.
Talk about it.
So people like to rag, okay, biggest comeback, blah, blah, blah. But like, I lost to, in basketball terms, I lost to LeBron. So what are we talking about?
TB12, baby.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm going to hear about that stuff all the time, and you just have to, you know, be able to receive that and be like, all right, I know that I put my all into that. I gave my best. Like, okay, we lost the Super Bowl. Big deal. Like,
and guess what?
We're still looking for the other Pilates studios.
We're still looking for them.
You know, we're still looking for them. So I did want to talk about how we film our podcast, because everybody here films their podcast live, meaning live in front of the camera. And so it's not like you have a Zoom guest or so on. So I want to talk about that. Why did you all choose to film in front of the camera? I only film in front of the camera. They only film in front of the camera. I've never seen them do a Zoom guest. But why did you guys make that technology decision?
Social media. We just talked about it. I mean, we were getting a whole lot of audio views, audio listens, right? I'm like, let's take it to the next level. I need some clips. I need something to put on social media. I can't keep putting the audio wave file, because they got played out pretty fast. You put the picture up there, you put the wave on top of the picture, you hit play, and you can hear it. So I'm like, all right, social media, we need something else to take the pod to the next level. And it was only right. And we shoot off one camera right now. And then after the one camera, I can go in and cut the camera clips down. Whole nother story for another day. But we shoot off one camera, the Sony 6600. It's been good. I need another lens and I need another camera. So if y'all can let me, Big C-Mac, let me borrow your camera. I see you looking at it. My guy C-Mac, get it back. He ain't gonna let me hold this one right here. This is the camera I want.
But you know, when we started, reels weren't the thing.
Yeah.
People weren't on TikTok.
real.
Like the
That's
short
crazy.
form clips, that was not
Yeah.
a thing.
I always
when we
struggle
started.
cutting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was fine for us to just do the audio. You got to think, like, even the changes in Instagram, before it was Reels, remember they were trying to be YouTube and they had like the long form clips.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right. You have to clip that down.
Yeah, exactly. So that has all evolved in the last almost
And then,
7
like I said,
years
the
now.
wave file.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, I didn't think about it. You're right. Yeah. You're
It's
right.
a constant evolution for sure.
Oh, for sure. For us, I would say we started out video, audio, of course. I guess just we wanted that engagement, and we did do Zoom for a minute when we really couldn't go anywhere during COVID, and we were all in different places. But we didn't like that because we like the real reactions, be able to sit here with the people and actually. You know what I'm saying? Meet them and actually have a real conversation. And it's different doing it over Zoom because there's a lag in technology. I'll be talking and then so we didn't really like that. But yeah, so like a bunch of our stuff is clips and stuff,
Yeah,
and people.
in
That's
person.
how people
Yeah.
engage.
Yeah, I also think that it's interesting because not all influencers are good with talking in public. They
Sure.
don't know how to have real conversations, but people can be really good behind camera, and then when they get in public, it's almost like they shut down.
We just talked about one in the car.
Yeah.
I'll tell you later.
You know what? We won't name names, right?
Tell you later.
But I have experienced it multiple times with different people, and I'm just like, no, I want to have the energy in the room and be able to exude that through a real life presence. But I'm also an extrovert by nature, so I just enjoy people.
Yeah.
And like Alex said, like we enjoy people, so that's why social media is not our life, and we're not consumed by it because we're kind of like, but we have real friends
Yeah, we can go outside.
who don't even use social media at all. Like most of the time when we're around our friends, they're not on social media, so they think something's probably wrong with me because I'll be like, hold on, before you eat your food,
Yep, gotta take it. Gotta eat
gotta
first.
get a picture of this.
But I mean, to your point, we've had some guests on the podcast, and we thought that they would perform well
Oh, one was so bad.
Oh, wow.
based on their
Horrible.
social media content that they do by themselves.
Was it Barrett?
Don't worry about it. But when we got them on the podcast, it was
was
like pulling
god-awful.
teeth to get them to talk, and I was like, "What are we?
Once again,
what
I
are we
didn't-
doing here?"
I didn't know her like that. I know y'all, so I had y'all on. This was I wanted her on. I know her, but I don't know her like that.
Yeah.
She came on the podcast, and I quickly regretted my decision.
That's tough.
So then it was like, okay, we gotta be more mindful of the guests that we have on here
Yeah.
because
That's true.
people are completely different people online
I think
Yes.
they go back
than
to
what they
Which is
are in
weird to me,
person.
too, though. To me, that's very weird. I just don't. I don't have a lot of respect for people who portray themselves much different in real life. I mean, I am what you get 24/7.
This is me.
When
Yeah.
we first started, people were like, I remember people asking us, do you have to like do multiple takes? Do you have to? I'm like, no, that takes too much energy.
Yeah, that's
when
too
we
much.
record, what you get
One
is what
shot.
we've done.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't have
Facts.
time to like be different people to like, oh, I take that back. It's like, this is what we're talking about. Once we're done, that's the content. I think out of the entirety of the years that we've been recording the podcast, we've only scrapped like 2 episodes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because y'all are
That is
on
awesome.
what number episode?
Ooh, we 480 at this point.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
And what number y'all are?
We hit 267 today.
Right, see, that's
Yeah.
right.
So
So I am on. This is 34, I
It's-
think.
we gotta
but-
keep going.
Right. You know what? I take it in seasons.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
so,
That's good.
and that's how I have to. That's how everybody has to look at it too. Like, every episode adds up to get to a culmination of greatness. Like it gets better every time. I used to say like all the time too, and then I started watching my interviews back. I said, "What am I saying?"
I'm telling you, Jasmine.
Yeah.
Say it like.
I do have to ask, who has been y'all's favorite guest?
Oh, wait.
I can say mine.
Go ahead.
We had a sex therapist on our podcast.
Sex therapy. I feel like
She was a psychologist and she specialized in sex.
Yeah.
And so her engagement, she was like just a wealth of information.
Yeah, it was just a lot of information.
Which was
She was
helpful
good,
for
though.
couples who have been in the game for a
K-Spot.
long time.
The
You know, we've been
K-Spot,
married.
but I can't remember her name. That's her Instagram information. The K-Spot.
The K-Spot.
K-Spot. Okay.
Yeah. That was my favorite guest.
You know what? I don't have a favorite guest, but I will say I have a favorite time that we did guest during COVID. Quite opposite from what y'all said. During COVID, we went live on Instagram every episode. So when COVID happened, we had to pivot, and we just did Instagram live podcast. So every podcast was live, and I took the audio and I ran it back through the Focusrite back in. Anyway, I'm telling y'all how. Anyway, I did a lot.
All it takes.
I know. So I ran the audio back from Instagram back into the Focusrite, got the audio, then still put it out. However, but while it was live, we did it all on Instagram, and we just had people popping in and out. And we had certain little features that people did. They came on, and man, it was like probably like 400 people like watching it live at one time. So I said like a lot that time. I heard myself.
But it was also the guest, because remember in 2020 we had all of the racial tension going on. So we were interviewing people who were heavily involved in not politics, just like heavily involved in the community
around Nashville. So
like we had Jamel on there. He was great, and so
all of them,
yeah. So they were just talking about a lot about how
social unrest.
Yes.
And it was a really good period. Like that stretch, that run for podcasting was good. You know, like people we know, like I said, y'all, I'm just saying this because y'all in front of me, but people that we know that come on the podcast, it's just an easier conversation to have versus a stranger coming on. But if I know you, man, we gonna kick back and laugh like a family reunion.
Yeah, we gonna
so it's gonna be good.
Man. Okay.
What about y'all?
Man,
got a lot of big guests, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of guests.
Yeah,
we've had some good ones.
What's my man? Clinton Portis.
Clinton Portis was good. I feel like my favorite one, it is not because I'm a Steelers fan. It's
Oh, go ahead.
But Rashad Mendenhall was a good one.
Okay.
Because going back to the conversation that we was having about social media and like dealing with the pressures outside of, he really broke down his story on like, you know, what was going on with him during his time with the Steelers and, you know, dealing with fans and craziness and all of that. He was very vulnerable. He was an open book. Yeah, obviously he's, you know, he plays for my favorite team as well. He plays for my favorite team. So that was a big one. I mean, I love that one. That was great. I mean, I feel like the most memorable this year probably by far was Rich Homie.
Yeah, that's that was gonna be my favorite. That's a close friend of mine. You know, rest his soul. Yeah. But that was my favorite episode. You know, just being like knowing him in person from Atlanta, and then you know, having the opportunity to come and for him to come and learn about his story and you know, just get to share that moment with him. It was really cool for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. I would have to say Bishop Walker was my favorite episode because Bishop Walker, it was just such a good soul conversation. And a lot of times I don't expect to be interviewed, but Bishop Walker was like interviewing me at the same time that I was interviewing him. I remember talking about my career while I was asking him questions about his career. And he was like, well, you know, you've been doing stuff that you ain't supposed to be doing. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Read me, Pastor.
Yes, read me. So then he gives this calculation, which I have it pinned to the top of my Instagram, but it's a great calculation. He uses all these words and just alliteration, and he's like, this is how it should be calculated. This is how you're supposed to be living.
I like that.
This is what you're supposed to be doing. So I think I really enjoyed the conversation just because I was not expecting a guest to come on and preach to me in that way. Yes. And so, I mean, I enjoy every second of his interview for sure. I do want to ask you guys a couple more rapid fire, lighthearted questions, not about podcasting. Okay. What's your favorite movie?
Bad Boys 1 1, 2, 3, and 4. The series.
Yeah, go ahead.
We watched Bad Boys. The latest one was really good.
It was good.
Yeah.
I thought it was lit.
If I had to pick one, I would say Bad Boys 2.
Okay.
Bad Boys 2, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm embarrassed.
Don't be
tell her.
embarrassed.
Be
It's not a
embarrassed
big
now.
movie at all, y'all. It's Babs.
Babs.
Halle Berry.
That's a
First of all,
classic.
I love funny movies.
Yeah.
Like if Barrett sits me down, he wants to watch horror, something
do.
too serious. I'm like, I want to laugh.
Yeah.
And that movie just tickles me every time. It is so silly. It's not that good of a movie, but I love
It's a classic.
Babs.
Yeah.
I have 3. I'm gonna say Sister Act 2.
That one.
Love, love, love. And I don't know if you guys know Tanya from War and Treaty. Do y'all remember the episode where Lauryn Hill is singing with the girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're playing the piano, his eyes on the sparrow? That's Tanya from War and Treaty.
Okay.
So really cool. So Sister Act 2 and then Fighting Temptations with Beyonce.
Yeah.
I didn't
It's so good.
I know the third one too. Go
Yeah, what's my third one?
ahead. Kingdom Come.
Yeah.
That's a husband right there. Big
I know
husband.
all 3.
Kingdom Come is
Kingdom Come.
my favorite movie, and we were driving to Cheekwood last night, and Alex, we were in Green Hills, and Alex is like, "Oh, my mom used to shop at Talbot's all the time," and I was like, "Yeah, there's this scene on Kingdom Come where Jada Pinkett was like, oh, you've been buying us some clothes in Talbot's," and so
That's your movie?
That's my movie. That is my movie. I literally know all the words from all 3. I used to, before they were doing TikTok dances, I had all the Sister Act 2 dances down. So yeah, but all 3 movies have music in them too, and I come from a music family, so I think I just enjoyed them.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's like they're theatrical.
Yeah, it was a good movie. So.
Yeah.
You should know mine.
Forrest Gump, but
Forrest
I
Gump.
hate it. I
You
cannot.
said it on the show. You said it on the show.
Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Man, that's my
There it
favorite
is,
movie all the
classic.
time.
I
It's
hate
just a
it.
classic, man. It's a
I
classic
fall
movie.
asleep on Forrest Gump.
Every time.
It's a
Or
great
I
movie.
wake up depressed.
It's a great movie. So, fun fact: my 10th grade theater teacher
Okay.
was in the movie.
Oh.
If you remember the scene where Forrest Gump was running
I was
across
running.
the bridge,
That's the only scene anybody remembers.
there was a reporter running
Yeah.
beside
That
him
was
saying, "Are you running for women's rights?" That was my theater teacher.
Shout out
That's
to your
cool.
theater teacher.
Yeah.
Big sweet.
Yeah, man.
Shout out to Teach. My favorite movie have to be Pursuit of Happiness.
That's
a
made me
good
cry.
one.
Will Smith. So me and
that's
Mississippi. That's the Mississippi.
That's my favorite actor.
Yes, sir. Mine too. See.
That movie.
Did you read his book?
Did I read? I haven't. I'm not a big reader.
Yeah.
But
Audiobook's good, bro.
Audiobook.
I get audio.
I had
On
to
them
tap
rides
in.
up
I did
and
the audio
down.
twice.
Yeah,
I did the
I know,
audiobook
right?
twice.
Okay.
And it's fire.
I have to check it out. I have to check it out. But the movie, I mean, just building yourself from nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Having that determination when you ain't got nothing, you should be quitting. That's me.
Yeah.
Did the scene get you, man, when they was in the bathroom, he had to put his foot up against the door?
Every time.
He got me.
Every time.
They play that right now. I'll be weak.
I was broke.
My favorite scene though. My favorite scene when they on that rooftop basketball. Yep. Tell their son like, hey, whatever you want to do, son. Like, if you want to be that, like, you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just do it. Facts.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a
You
good
know, it's wild, but Rain has never lived a life like that.
Yeah.
Rain has been living her best life in 5-star hotels. So,
See? Here.
what holiday memory has brought a smile to your face?
Kick it off. You about to say something? I don't know. Go ahead.
So it was Thanksgiving. No, it wasn't actually Thanksgiving. It was Thanksgiving time. Was it last year or year before last?
Yeah.
Anyways, my uncle had passed away.
Okay.
He was the uncle that married us. So it's like very sad. And, families go through things. And so obviously we all came together for the passing of his funeral for his funeral. And remember when my grandfather, who actually, he died 2 months after my uncle. But I was like, we loved his dressing. He made the best dressing. He was just a good cook in general. So he came over to my grandmother's house with his 2 pans of dressing, and we had like our early Thanksgiving because it was like the week before Thanksgiving. And then Barrett, my cousin, and my dad decided to race.
Oh man. Oh.
Better have won.
Did you win? Did
Yeah.
you get cooked?
Yeah, and I threw up afterwards in the bathroom. I'm not gonna lie to y'all.
Oh, wow.
I just got done eating. Her daddy was talking noise. I just got done eating.
Got to handle business.
Like I had to handle business.
How long y'all run for?
It
About a mile.
was like a block around Westwood,
About a mile.
right?
A block?
And-
About a mile? Oh, yes.
Well,
Yeah.
we doing a quick little 40-yard
Facts,
dance.
that's what I'm saying.
20 yards.
See, that's why I had to brace it. I
Like
said,
they
man,
ran
you
the block.
smoke. You're not finna beat me running on. I don't smoke. I don't drink. You're not gonna beat me running long distance. He got tired midway through, and I said, and I got to the bathroom everywhere.
Y'all ran a mile? That's
ran it.
wild.
They ran it.
we had just got done eating, so like we had our early Thanksgiving dinner. And it was like a race of the generations. So it was like
Yeah.
my younger cousin
Oh, yeah, her
who was his
little cousin,
early
woman, he
20s, and fierce
Man, like
almost 40.
17.
and
Oh,
then
yeah,
it was
so he
my
was in peak.
dad.
Right.
And so my dad had some speed on him, but I think he
He
pulled
got
me.
tired. No, he got we running a mile.
A mile?
It was
Down,
just nice because we were all together, and
Yeah.
that was like
Yeah.
obviously like my uncle had passed away, but that was like my last memory of like my grandfather being there as well. So
Yeah.
it was a good time.
I'll be quick because I know the time is coming up. But my son's first Christmas, like when he first came, it was my dad was still here, my mom, everybody was in the same house.
Yeah.
So it was real easy. It's like my dad, he's passed away. He didn't leave my mom. Watch out, camera. But my son's first Christmas, got everything, everybody trying to put stuff together for him. It was cool seeing everybody come together, trying to make sure this kid had exactly what he needed, and he didn't remember any of it probably 15 minutes after it happened.
Right.
That's what's up.
Oh. Gosh, I don't know why these questions are hard for me.
You wrote 'em.
I know.
Right.
Your question.
That's your pen.
But I have two favorite holiday memories. Alex called me on Christmas Eve in
sorry, that was mine.
2009.
That was my.
She beat you to it. You gotta go first.
And we talked all night long.
Yeah.
And then my second holiday
told me that.
memory is he proposed to me on Thanksgiving.
That was
Both
your,
of
that was
them.
your
We had
runner-up?
both of those.
He proposed to me on Thanksgiving in 2015.
Yeah.
And my dad was there, and that was the last Thanksgiving that my dad was with us. And he did his TikTok dance. Remember when he got up and
he
he was
did.
dancing?
Yep.
So he got up and he danced, and obviously he passed in between us getting engaged and getting married. But it was nice to. I always smile at that memory because he at least got to be there for that. So yeah, and then my third holiday memory is having rain the week of Thanksgiving on the day that we buried my dad. So we buried him 11/21/16, and she was born 11/21/21 at 2:02 in the morning. So he showed up again.
Look at that.
So nothing but God.
She took both of mine, but definitely that phone conversation. Definitely when I proposed on Thanksgiving. I'll say my third one actually, because it just came to my mind. I found so I went to my dad's house last year, and I found his old camcorder. His old one with the cassettes still in there. There's no audio in these things, but he had a lot of cassettes, and one of the cassettes was Christmas 2002. Because my brother had he was about to turn 2, and I got that cassette, and so I'm watching this thing. I said, "Oh, this is Christmas time," and I saw my late grandmother.
Nice.
My dad had made the Christmas breakfast, so like everything was out. My auntie was there, that also passed away. My whole family, like my immediate family, it was like one of those. It was one of those Christmases, like that was like Hallmark style. Like we in our PJs. I saw my little brother. I mean, he's like 1.5 at that. Well, he was 1, 'cause he'll be 2, and he was gonna be 2. So I think that was like one of my favorite memories. Seeing that almost brought me to tears.
Now
watching the
Aaron's
video.
like 24.
Yeah, he's
so.
24 now.
Yeah, he's a grown man.
That was a while ago.
For me, it would have to be, it's a little tied into sports. We played on Christmas Eve in Carolina. I caught my first interception.
My brother.
But this was the first time, I guess, since college that I was able to go home and spend the holidays with my family. So, having that moment, my first interception, and then going home and being able to spend it with my family, my grandma, my granddad, my brothers, my uncle, like
that was big, man.
yeah, it was
kicked it.
yeah, we don't like me personally just haven't been able to do a whole lot of Thanksgiving, Christmases and stuff like that. So for me, that was really big for me.
Was you carrying the ball the whole time?
Oh, of course.
For sure.
That ball went home.
For sure.
Well, let's do our last roundtable question, which is, what are you thankful for?
Oh man, I don't want to sound cliche or cheesy, but the biggest thing I'm thankful for is like the small things. I tell her this all the time. A couple of my homeboys passed away and they can't be here. So when I wake up, I try to live like every day for them, for me. Yeah, it was especially for them because they're not around. They were good people. They still should be here. Freak accidents took them out. So I'm thankful for like the small things, even just waking up. But most importantly, like people take this for granted, but having your 5 senses. She laugh at me all the time, but I talk about this.
Yeah.
Hey, when you wake up, pray to God, or whoever you want to pray for. Don't pray to God, but do your thing.
Yeah.
But
This house serves the Lord.
Amen, amen. So
sweet house
just
serves
know
the Lord.
that you have to be thankful for things that you have that other people don't. So like, I mean, all 5 of them, sight, hear, tell, taste, touch, and smell. Like, be thankful that you have those. Besides family, friends, and everything else, the small things, be thankful for.
Yeah. Thanks. Like that.
Obviously, family. It just feels so much more special with our kids. Like they are, when I say we have the best kids, and so this year I'm more.
Debatable.
Am I gonna cry? I hope not.
Yeah, I thought you were about to
This year, I'm just happy that I'm grateful that I'm in a much better headspace because last year was like really rough getting through the holidays, but this year I just feel like a whole new person. Like I genuinely feel joy, and it's just like. It's just like, wow, what a difference a year can make. So I'm just happy that I've come out of that. And we're actually about to spend our Christmas at home. We usually go to
The best state
we usually go to Mississippi
on
for
earth.
Christmas. But this year, I'm really excited about us spending Christmas at home. They can like open up their gifts at the house, and we're gonna be in our PJs, drinking hot chocolate. I'm so grateful that is what we get to do this year.
I love that.
I love it too.
I am just going to stay present and say that I'm grateful for y'all. I feel like everybody in this circle is a relationship that has grown up with me. And so for years now, I mean, we came on y'all's podcast to share marriage, and we probably talked about some crazy dating stories. That we were ready to, just be done with each other over.
Haven't we all been there?
Right.
Yes, sir.
And then you obviously met Jalen, and y'all, it was never the intention for you to be on the podcast, but y'all accepted the Rec Room champ.
Absolutely.
Two times.
Alex is also a D1 athlete too. He ran track for University of Memphis, but I'm just grateful for this group. I don't think that we think about networking across as much because mentorship is taught so much, but we are each other's mentors and we are each other's peers. So I want people to look around them and grab other people's hands that are like right beside you in the trenches, like in parenthood, in marriage, in friendship, and all that. So that's what I'm thankful for.
That was good. We should have ended on that one, bad. It was amazing.
Facts.
Should let you go.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna say I'm really grateful for my daughter, and I'm gonna tell you why. And I'm sure Barrett, you can speak to it, but like just having a daughter, you just look at things so much differently. You want to be the best man you can be. You want to be the best version of yourself you can be. She's taught me patience. She's like is reteaching me, love again. I mean, she's, there's like a lot that I've just learned. She's only been here for about to be 3 years.
Tomorrow.
3 years tomorrow. 3 years tomorrow, and she just taught me so much. Like being more grounded in my faith. Making sure that I pray every day. She'd say, "Daddy, come give me a hug. Daddy, give me a kiss. Where are you going? Give me a kiss. Come here." Like embrace it, love, all that, man. I've never been a really.
Where did she learn that?
Talk about it,
mama. But it's all right, it's there's a freshness. It's just a beautiful thing. It's the freshness that just she brings, and seeing how she interacts with you, and it's just a beautiful thing. I'm just so grateful for my daughter, more than life. I'm really grateful for her.
Me too.
I can go on, but I may start tearing up. So
Me too. I'm about to tear up.
Y'all, I can feel it. For me, mine is the opportunity to be an instrument for the Lord. I love people. I love connecting. And just through this field that I've, dove into, I've seen a lot of different instances where we touch people, help people through depression or hard times, and just being able to connect with people and show people love. That's a big passion of mine. So
yeah. You're in your calling. I watched your LSU interview and I was like, he is where he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So you're in your calling. Well, you guys, thank you so much again for tuning into the Sweet House and meeting my new friends. Old friends, but new friends to you all. I hope you took away something in regards to podcasting, and we hope you have beautiful holiday seasons with your family and your friends. This episode is powered by Google Fiber. Google Fiber is new to Nashville with the 8 gig option, and it has allowed all of us to continue creating content in the basement, in the studio, and at home. Right. So thank you, Google Fiber, and if you guys haven't checked out Google Fiber, the 8 gig is super fast. We can testify to that. Absolutely. And it helps us to upload everything we need, communicate with each other, and make sure all the logistics are happening behind the scenes. Also, something else to note that we live in Tornado Alley, and if the power goes out, Google Fiber stays on.
Got your back.
So thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in season 4 in the spring.
Peace.
Thank you for being a G friend.
Yeah.
It's Christmas.
Yes.
Christmas.
Yeah, that was a solid box right there.
Right.
That was a solid. We got a little weight to
like
it.
this.
Got a little weight to it. Got a little weight to
like
it.
this.
Are we opening?
We opening?
All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
Unbox this thing, baby.
Yeah, that was
I'm nervous.
Right.
Oh.
We're doing a influencer unboxing.
Hold on. Let me show the goods.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute
Oh, that's
now.
nice.
Where my camera? My camera right there. Show the goods.
Yes.
I see you got no nails.
Ain't got no
Rain
nails.
will steal this because
Baby, I
she
love
loves
Oh, I feel fancy.
tumblers.
Love a cup.
I'm gonna pod with this. Tuesday,
okay.
this will be on the pod. I am recording with
What?
this.
How cute is that?
Oh, ceramic self-heating
Love.
mug.
Hey, you can put a
Okay,
lot of
real
Red
fancy.
Bull in this thing.
Ooh,
A lot of Red Bull.
a heated mug? I needed
me
this
see.
morning.
What size is this?
Oh, it's a heated mug?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's fancy right
This
there.
is Merry
Shout out to
Christmas.
Google.
Now this looks
Hey.
good, but y'all gotta have some sizes for the small people too. This is the large.
This is large. No, this right here. This right up my alley.
Yeah, I knew this is
Yeah,
good for
large
you.
worked out perfect.
Yeah.
Professional football player just said that.
Shout out to Google Fiber.
All right, go.
Google Fiber, y'all
Thank
like
you,
with
Google
me?
Fiber.
Ceramic self-heating mug. Okay, now we fancy
Voila,
now.
hold on.
Yeah,
Get
big
the
time.
wide
Oh,
shot.
yeah.
Get
And it's
me-
white jazz.
See the
jazzy.
vibes.
The heated mug is coming just in time. It's
I
just
know,
cold
right?
outside.
Just in time.
Oh my gosh, by golly. Mistletoe and holly. Come on now. What's up,
I
Ann?
like it.
It's a big straw. 40
Thank you,
ounce.
Google Fiber.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
Emily
Google Fiber.
and Jasmine. Google Fiber. We're grateful.
You in school, baby.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Great. Okay, perfect. Then I'm gonna get some B-roll if you guys are both get snacks, Jazzy.
Listen, you know y'all got some snacks now. Got the snacks. I almost broke.
Straight back.
Did you? I almost did. I almost did. I got some up in there.
You told me to stop saying it. You told me. Ooh.
Today's beautiful spread is brought to you by Kirby and Co. Kirby is an amazing entrepreneur in the city of Nashville. She's also an author of a book called Nourish, where she talks about how to come back to yourself on top of presenting multiple recipes that we are currently enjoying today as we gather as friends to talk about podcasting, life, and the holidays.